Good morning, friends. This is Hashmat ma'am. Today we are going to discuss about Geography, Unit 3, India Agriculture. Here, agriculture, you know very well about what are the different types and objectives we are going to be discussed. To understand the nature of India's soil types and their distribution, to know about the importance of irrigation and multi-purpose projects in India, to study about the agriculture, its types and importance of agriculture, to understand the livestock and fishing resources of India, to comprehend the problems of farming in India. Let me go to the introduction first. Soil. You know very well, it is one of the most important natural resources. India's varied natural environments resulted in a great variety of soils which compared to any other country of similar size in the world. The rich, very deep and fertile soils which support the high density of population through the agricultural prosperity. What is soil? Soil is the uppermost layer of the land surface, usually composed of minerals, organic matter, living organisms, air and water. What is soil? It is the uppermost layer of the earth crust which consists of loose materials with the minerals, organic matter, living organisms, air and water. Grains in the soil of three categories, namely clay, silt and sand. Soils are generally formed by the weathering of rocks under different conditions. This we have discussed in the previous chapter. Some soils which are formed by the deposition of agents of denudation. Soils can vary greatly from one region to the other region. What are the types of soils we have in India as per the Indian Council of Agricultural Research, which was set up in the year 1953, which divides the soils of India into following 8 groups. They are, now look at that: alluvial soil, black soil, red soil, laterite soil, forest and mountain soil, arid and desert soils, saline and alkaline soils, peaty and marshy soils. There are 8 types of soils we found in India. Among 8, we are going to be discuss about the 5 types of soil and their characteristics and where it is distributed. Look at the diagram. Types of soils in India: saline soil and alkaline, how many percentage? Peaty and marshy, laterite soil, forest and mountain soil, alluvial soil, red soil, black soil. Now look at the characteristic features of those different types of soils. Soil type, alluvial soil. Look at the characteristics. What are the types of alluvial soil? It found khada and the bhanga. Khada is a newer alluvium. Bhangar is the older alluvium. What is the color of the khada? It's a light color, more siliceous over there. Bhanga, the older alluvium, which composed of lime nodules and has a clayey composition. It is a dark in color. Formation: sediments deposited by streams and rivers when they slowly lose. What are the chemical properties? It is very rich in potash, phosphoric acid, lime and carbon compounds but poor in nitrogen. What is the nature of this soil? Sandy, loamy, silt, clay, which profile shows no marked differentiation. Look at the distribution: Ganga and Brahmaputra river valleys, where you are finding these alluvial soil. Plains of Uttar Pradesh, Uttaranchal, Punjab, Haryana, West Bengal, Bihar and the river mouth of the east coast. Black soil. It's derived from basalts of Deccan trap. Color, what is the color? Black color due to the presence of titanium and the iron. What are the chemical properties? It consists of calcium and magnesium carbonates, high quantities of iron, aluminium, lime and magnesium, which is rich in potash, lime, aluminium, calcium and magnesium and poor in nitrogen, phosphoric acid and humus. What is the nature of this soil? It is very sticky when it is wet. high degree of moisture retentivity, it's necessary. Look at the state's border which covers the black soil, Maharashtra and Malwa plateaus, Kathiawar Peninsula, Telangana and Rayalaseema region of Andhra Pradesh and northern part of Karnataka. This you can see in a map. I'll show you. Now the next is red soil. What is a formation? It formed decomposition of the ancient crystalline rocks like granites and gneisses and from the rock type. Chemical properties, which is rich in minerals such as iron and magnesium. Deficient in nitrogen, humus, phosphoric acid and lime. What is the nature of the soil? Light texture, porous friable, presence of limited soluble salts. Clay fraction of the red soils generally consist of colonitic minerals. Where are the area? Eastern parts of Deccan Plateau, southern states of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Chotanagpur Plateau region in the Jharkhand. Next soil, laterite soil. How it is forming? It forms in the regions where alternate wet and hot dry conditions prevail. Alternative, okay? It is formed by the process of leaching. Chemical properties, what is available? Composed of mainly hydrated oxides of iron and aluminium. Its nature is more acidic on higher areas, poor in high level, cannot retain the moisture, while plains they consist of heavy loam and clay and easily retain the moisture. Look at that, which are the area, the distribution of this soil in Assam hills, hill summits of Kerala and Karnataka and eastern Ghats and region of Odisha. So these are the 4 different types. Now the 5th one you are going to be discuss about soil type characteristic distribution, forest and mountain soils. It differs from region to region depending on climate. Formation. Due to the mechanical weathering caused by snow, rain, temperature variation, chemical properties are deficient in potash, phosphorus and lime. What is the nature of this soil? Very light, sandy, thin and found with the presence of rock. Their character changes with the parent rocks. Very rich in humus, slow decomposition makes it acidic. Distribution. Coniferous forest belts of Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Sikkim, eastern and western Ghats side. Now see that India major soil types. Alluvial soil, red soil, black soil, laterite, forest and mountain, arid and desert, saline, alkaline and peaty, marshy soil. Look at this. This is your forest and mountain soil. This is your alluvial soil plain. This is red soil and this is black soil region. Okay, this is alluvial river bed where it forms. In the coastal borders you are finding those things. These are the major soil types of India. Now the next topic is about irrigation. You know what is irrigation? It is a man-made arrangement of water supply to the agricultural field. So here, watering of agricultural plants through the artificial mean is called irrigation. Being a hot country with a seasonal and irregular rainfall, it always needs irrigation to carry out agricultural activities during dry period. What are the sources of irrigation? What are the types we have in India? In India, different sources of irrigations are used depending upon the topography, that is the land, depends upon the land, the area and the soil, rainfall, availability of surface or the groundwater and depends on the nature of river, whether it is perennial or non-perennial. Perennial means large. Throughout the year they can able to get a water supply. Requirements of crops, etc. The main sources of irrigation used in different parts of the country are canal irrigation, well irrigation and tank irrigation. Canal irrigation further divided into inundation canal and the perennial canal. Well irrigation and the tank well further divided into tube wells, okay, and the tank irrigation. These are the 3 different types. Area under irrigation it provides. First we are going to see about the canal irrigation. It is the second most important source of irrigation in our country. Canals are the effective source of irrigation in areas of low level relief, deep, fertile soils, perennial source of water, and extensive command area. The canals are of two types. One is the inundation canal, that is non perennial, and the perennial canals. In this, water is taken out directly from the rivers without making any kind of barrage or dam. Such canals are useful for the diversion of flood water from the rivers and remain operational during rainy season. Perennial canals. These are developed from perennial rivers, large rivers, by constructing barrage to regulate the flow of water. About 60% of the canal irrigated area falls in the northern plains of India, because where there is no dryness over there in the, that is example, Ganga river. The next thing we are going to discuss about the well irrigation. A well is a hole or trough, usually vertical, excavated in the earth for bringing groundwater to the surface. Well irrigation is the most important source of irrigation. It is a cheap, dependable and popular source of irrigation in the country. Well irrigation is unavoidable in the region of low rainfall and become an essential one where the canals and tank irrigations are not available. Wells are of two types: open wells and tube wells. Open wells. This type of irrigation is widely practiced in the areas where the groundwater is sufficiently available. The areas are in Ganga plains, the deltaic region of Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri and parts of Narmada and Tapti valleys. Now the tube wells. Tube wells are well developed in the areas of low water table, sufficient power supply and soft subsurface geological units. Tube wells are predominant in the states of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh and as well as in Tamil Nadu. The next, the final one, tank irrigation. A tank is a natural or man-made hollow on the surface which developed by constructing a small bund around it across a stream. It is used to collect and store water for irrigation and other purposes. Irrigation by tank is a very old system in India. It also includes irrigation from lakes and ponds. The tank irrigation is popular in the peninsular India due to the following reasons: the undulating relief and hard rocks made difficult to dig canals and wells, natural depressions which serves as reservoirs, absence of perennial rivers, impermeable rock structure which do not permit the percolation, the scattered nature of population and agricultural fields. Now look at that. The next point of view, multi-purpose river valley projects. It is the scientific management of water resource in our country, which constructions of dam across rivers is aimed at many purposes. What is multi-purpose project? It is the scientific management of water resources in our country which construct a dam across the river which aimed at many purposes, that is multi-purpose project. The various purposes of a dam serves are irrigation, hydropower generation, water supply for drinking and industrial purpose, controlling the floods, development of fisheries, navigation, etc. Generally, majority of multipurpose projects are combination of irrigation and the hydropower, which are major aims of the projects. Look at that. Pradhan Mantri Rishi Sinchai Yojana. This has been production by using water saving and conservation technologies. Point number first, 3, agriculture. Very important. Now we are coming to the lesson. Agriculture is the process of producing food for the people, food for the cattle, fiber and many other desired products by the cultivation of certain plants and the raising of domesticated animals, that is livestock. Agriculture means it is the process of producing food for people, fodder for the cattle, fiber and many other desired products by the cultivation of certain plants and the raising of domesticated animals. What are the determinants of the agriculture? Agriculture in India is determined by a certain factor. Some of the important factors are physical factors, that is relief, climate and soil based on the topography. Institutional factors: size of farm holdings, land tenure, and the land reforms. Infrastructural factors: irrigation, power, transport, credit, market, insurance, and storage facilities. Point number 4: technological factors, which highly yielding varieties of seeds, chemical fertilizers, insecticides, and machinery. Now, what are the types of farmings we are using? Subsistence farming, shifting agriculture. We have plantation agriculture, many different types. In that, first we are going to discuss about subsistence farming. What is that? A considerable portion of farmers in the country which practice the subsistence farming. What is that? The farmers grows crops with the help of a family members and consumes almost all the entire farm produce with little surplus to sell in the market. Preference is given to food crops. Subsistence farming, they have given a preference for the food crops, not for the cash crops sale. That is only for the family consumption. In addition to the food crops, they are adding sugarcane, oilseeds, cotton, jute, and tobacco are also cultivated. Traditionally, farming method results in low productivity. That is only for their family consumption. Sale, it's only for the nearby village, not for the any more in a far away distance. Shifting agriculture. This type of agriculture is performed by tribal people in a piece of forest land after clearing the trees through the felling and burning the trunks and branches. Once the land is cleared, crops are grown for 2 or 3 years and the land will get abandoned as the fertility of the soil decreases. The farmers then move to new areas and the process will be repeated. They cultivated some grains and vegetable crops using the manual labor. It is also called as a slash and burn cultivation. The next thing, different names of shifting agriculture in different regions in India. Name: Jhum in Assam, Poonam in Kerala, Podu in Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Beva, Mashan in Madhya Pradesh, Penda, Bira in also in Madhya Pradesh. Now the third one is intensive farming. Intensive farming means what? It's an agricultural intensification and mechanization system that aims to maximize the yields from available land through the various means, such as heavy use of pesticides and chemical fertilizers. Only they need a profit by adding chemical and fertilizers. Dry farming. This type of farming is practiced in arid areas where irrigation facilities are lacking. Crops cultivated in these areas can withstand the dry conditions. The crops grown generally with the help of irrigation are also grown under dry farming. In such circumstances, the yields are generally low. Most of the areas under dry cultivation entertain only one crop per year. Now the next point is mixed farming. Mixed farming is defined as a system of farm which include crops production, raising livestock, poultry, fisheries, beekeeping to collect the honey, etc. to sustain and satisfy as many needs of the farmer as possible. This is a mixed farming and agriculture basis. Now look at the terrace farming. This type of cultivation is practiced especially in hilly areas where lands are of sloping nature. The hill and mountain slopes are cut to form the terraces and the land is used in the same way as in a permanent agriculture. Since the availability of flat land is limited, terraces are made to provide small patches of level land. Soil erosion is also checked due to the terrace formation on hill slopes. Now, what are the crops, major crops cultivated in India? Major crops of India are divided into 4 major categories as follows. Number 1 is food crops. What are the food crops? Wheat, maize, rice, millets, pulses, etc. Number 2 is the cash crops. Sugarcane, tobacco, cotton, jute, oilseeds, etc. Number 3, plantation crops. tea, coffee, and rubber. Horticulture crops, point number 4, which is fruits, flowers, and vegetables are cultivating. Point number 1, food crops. Which are the crops are called as the food crops we have discussed? Wheat, maize, rice, millets, pulses, etc. Due to its large population, Indian agriculture is largely dominated by the food crops. Rice. Rice is an indigenous crop. India is the second largest producer of rice in the world after China. It is mainly a tropical crop, growing mainly with mean temperature of 24 degrees Celsius and annual rainfall of 150 centimeter. Its very deep, fertile, clayey or loamy soils are suited well for the rice cultivation. It also needs abundant supply of cheap labor. Paddy cultivation. Okay. Now look at the seasons. Cropping season. Kharif season, June to September. Rabi season, October to March. Zaid season, April to June. During this season, what are the different types of crops finding? So Kharif season, June to September, we are finding rice, cotton, bajra, maize, jowar, tur. And during the Rabi season, wheat, gram, rapeseed, mustard, and the barley. During Zaid season, this is suitable for the vegetables, fruits, and the fodder. Look at this. Rice in India is sown in 3 ways: broadcasting, ploughing or drilling method, and the transplanting method. Due to increased use of high yielding variety HYV seeds, many of the indigenous varieties were disappeared. In 2016, the first 10 leading rice producing states are West Bengal, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Assam, and Haryana. Look at the area where you are just getting rice and as well as the wheat productions. These are the states you are finding wheat and as well as the rice. Now, point of view, wheat. Wheat is the second most important food crop of the country after rice. It accounts for 22% of the total area and 34% of the total production of food grains in the country. It requires 10 to 15 degrees Celsius at the same time of sowing and 20 to 25 degrees Celsius at the time of ripening of grains. So over 85% of the India's wheat production comes from 5 states, namely Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, and Madhya Pradesh. Apart from these regions, the black soil tract of the Deccan covering the parts of Maharashtra and Gujarat also contribute a major wheat production. Look at this area for the wheat production in India. Now jowar. Jowar is the third important food crop of our country. It is an indigenous plant of Africa. The plant has a tendency to grow in adverse climatic conditions. Its grains are rich in carbohydrates, protein, minerals, and vitamins. Hence, it provides cheap food to the large section of the poor population. It is also used as a fodder in many parts of the country. Jowar is essentially a crop of the peninsula India, that is South India. Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Madhya Pradesh are the leading producers of jowar. Bajra. It's an indigenous plant of Africa. This forms the staple food for the poor people. Its stalks also used as a fodder for the cattle and for the thatching purposes. Bajra is a crop of dry region. Rajasthan is the largest producer of bajra, which was followed by the Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Gujarat, and Maharashtra. Barley. Barley, you know the importance of the barley now. One of the important cereals of our country. Besides being poor man's diet, it is used for making barley water, beer, and the whiskey. Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh are the 2 leading producers of the barley. Pulses. It includes a large number of crops which are mostly leguminous and rich in vegetable protein. They are used as a human food and feeding cattle. They fix the atmospheric nitrogen in the soil and hence are usually rotated with other crops. So India is the largest producer of pulses. Now we are going to talk about the cash crops. The crops which are cultivated for commercial purpose are called cash crops. What are called cash crops? The crops which are cultivated for commercial purpose are called cash crops. These crops include sugarcane, tobacco, fiber crops like cotton, jute, and maize and oil seeds. Point number 1 is sugarcane. It is the second largest producer in the world. This crop provides the raw material for the sugar industry, which is the second largest industrial category of our country. Besides providing sugar, gur, and the khandasari, it supplies the molasses for alcohol industry and bagasse for the paper industry. So his waste material is also useful for the other industries to run. India is ranked third in sugar production in the world after Cuba and Brazil. At the state level, Uttar Pradesh is a leading producer of sugar cane, which was followed by the Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Gujarat. The second fiber crops, it's a cotton. Cotton is the most important cash crop of India and it provides raw material to the largest industry of India. India ranks second next to the China in the production of cotton, like rice. About 79% of the total area and production in the country, which were contributed by 4 states, example Gujarat, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, and Punjab. Now the jute. Jute, it is a tropical fiber crops, grows well in the alluvial soil. It provides raw material for jute industry. It is used for manufacturing of gunny bags, carpets, hosieries, ropes and strings, rugs, cloths, tarpaulins, upholstery, etc. West Bengal is the leading state both in cultivation and production of jute. The other cultivators of jute are Bihar, Assam and Meghalaya. Jute or otherwise called as a golden fiber. Cotton is otherwise called as a king of the fiber. Okay. Now this is the major cash crops region. Look at this: sugarcane, cotton, jute, oilseeds, tea, coffee, rubber and spices in different column. So based on the legend, you have to follow the map. Oilseeds. Oilseeds, the premier source of fat in the Indian diet, are derived from number of crops like groundnut, rapeseed, mustard, sesame, linseed, sunflower, castor seed, cotton seed, Niger seed, etc. These provide oil and oil cake, which are used for making lubricants, varnish, medicine, perfume, candles, soaps, manure, and cattle feed. Gujarat is India's largest oilseeds producing state. In groundnut production, India is the second largest producer in the world after China. Now plantation crops. Plantation crops are cultivated for the purpose of exports. These are cultivated in large estates on hilly slopes. Hilly slopes only the plantation crops will continuously grow. Tea, coffee, rubber and spices are the major plantation crops of India. What are the plantation crops? Tea, coffee, rubber and spices. Even tobacco also you can add, or the major plantation crops of the India. Tea. Tea is an evergreen plant that mainly grown in tropical and subtropical climate. It is a labor intensive and grows faster under light shade. Tea plants require high rainfall, but its roots cannot tolerate waterlogging. So two major varieties of tea are cultivated in India. They are Bohea, which was originated from China, Assamica from the India. What are the two types? Bohea and Assamica. A number of hybrid varieties have been developed by mixing these two. India is the second largest producer of tea after China in the world. Assam is the larger producer of tea. It's an important one for the map question. They will ask you. Assam is the larger producer of tea in India. Other states are Tamil Nadu, Kerala and West Bengal. So look at the map. Where are the tea? Okay. Assam region. This is Assam. Okay. Now we are coming to the coffee. Coffee is grown in shade and it is grown effectively in the altitudes between 1000 and 1000 meter, 1000 and 1500 meter above mean sea level. There are two main varieties of coffee. They are Arabica and Robusta. Arabica is a high quality cultivated more in India. Robusta is an inferior quality. India is the 7th largest producer of coffee globally. Karnataka is the leading production of coffee in India. It produces around 71% in India and 2.5% in the world. Source. What is that? Coffee Board of India 2018. Rubber plantation. It was the first established in Kerala in 1902. It needs hot and wet climatic condition, that is temperature about 20 degrees Celsius and rainfall about 300 centimeter. Most of the land under rubber belongs to the small landholders. The major rubber growing areas are Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Spices. India has been world famous for its spices since ancient times. These spices mostly used for flavoring or tempering the cooked food and for the preparing medicines, dyes, etc. Pepper, chilies, turmeric, ginger, cardamom, clove and areca nuts. All these the major spices cultivated in India. Kerala is the leading producer of spices in India. Horticulture crops. It refers to the cultivation of fruits, flowers and vegetables. Horticulture, the cultivation of fruits, flowers and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables are important supplement to the human diet as they provide essential minerals, vitamins and fibers which are required for maintaining health. India is in the second position in the production of fruits and vegetables. Livestock. It's an integral component of the farming system in India. The livestock sector is socially and economically very significant due to its multifunctional outputs and contribution of social cultural security. It also helps to improve the food and nutritional security by providing nutrient-rich food products which generate income and employment and act as a cushion against the crop failure, provide the drought power and manure inputs to the crop substitutor. Now the cattle. It continues. India has the second largest cattle population after Brazil at world level. Cattle population in India which belongs to the different breeds. These include milch breed, drought breed, mixed or general breeds. Look at the goats. It's a poor man's cow which providing milk, meat, skin and hair. It's the main source of meat for the country. Buffaloes. They are an important source of milk supply for the India. Uttar Pradesh has the highest number of buffaloes, which was followed by Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh. Livestock census. First livestock census in India was conducted with the title of Dairy Cattle Census in 1990. How is the livestock census conducted in Tamil Nadu? State government is conducting livestock census with the help of Department of Animal Husbandry at state level and regional joint director at district level under the guidelines of Government of India, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Department of Animal Husbandry, Dairying and Fisheries. Look at the fisheries. Fisheries in India are very important economic activity and a flourishing sector with varied resources and potentials. Fishing in India is a major industry in its coastal states, employing over 14 million people. In India, fishing is categorized into two types. They are marine or sea fisheries. The second one is inland or freshwater fisheries. Look at that, fisheries, how they are catching it. Marine or sea fisheries, it includes coastal, offshore and deep sea fisheries, mainly on the continental shelves. Kerala leads in the marine fish production in India. Inland or the freshwater fisheries, where they are just catching the fish. Rivers, lakes, canals, reservoirs, ponds, tanks, etc. They are the source of the freshwater fisheries. About 50% of the country's total fish production comes from the inland fisheries, and Andhra Pradesh is the leading producer in India. In India, the important varieties of fishes caught by the fishermen are catfish, herrings, mackerels, perches, eels and the mullets, etc. Major issues faced by the farmers in India. It's an important question. General question. Small and fragmented land holdings. The problem of small and fragmented holdings is more serious in densely populated and intensively cultivated states in India. High cost of inputs. Good quality seeds are out of reach for the many small and marginal farmers due to their high price. Infertile soil. Indian soils have been used for growing crops over thousands of years without caring much for the replenishing. This has led to the depletion and exhaustion of soils, resulting in low productivity. Lack of irrigation. Only one-third of the cropped area falls under irrigated area. To make agriculture reliable, irrigation facility has to be developed. Lack of mechanization. In spite of large-scale mechanization of agriculture in some parts of the country, most of the agricultural operation is the larger parts are carried on by the human hand using simple and conventional tools. Soil erosion. Large tracts of fertile land suffer from soil erosion by wind and water. Agriculture marketing. Due to the absence of sound marketing facility, the farmers have to depend on local traders and middlemen for the disposal of their farm products, which is sold at lower price. Besides, there is a fluctuation in the price of agricultural products. Inadequate storage facilities. Storage facilities in the rural areas are either totally absent or grossly inadequate. Under such condition, the farmers are compelled to sell their products immediately after the harvest, irrespective of the condition of market. Inadequate transport. One of the main handicaps with the Indian agriculture is the lack of cheap and efficient means of transportation. Scarcity of capital. Agriculture is an important industry which requires a huge capital. The role of capital plays a major role in the purchase of advanced farm machineries and equipment. Look at this, the problems faced by the farmers in a current scenario. So please go through the lesson carefully, and what are the questions in the map showing you. Please try to do it up. Thank you, friends.